Hello, this is attorney Tara Hutchinson with Pittsburgh Family Law Services, coming in with another video where I discuss various issues related to Pennsylvania family law and estate planning. Today I wanted to address an issue that comes up pretty frequently with people who are going through a divorce, and a question that is often asked. And that question concerns, why is my divorce taking so long? It feels like this has been going on for months. Very little has gotten done. When am I going to see a judge? When am I going to get my divorce decree? And I completely get it. It's a very, very frustrating process to hire a lawyer, to pay a lawyer, usually a lot of money, and to feel like months and months are going by with very little or sometimes even no movement, or at least what seems to be no movement. So I do want to talk a little bit about why this delay occurs, and the reasons for it. So the first big reason for delay in a divorce process would be if you and your spouse are not in agreement. And specifically what I'm referring to is if your spouse is outright uncooperative. So what I mean by that is, when we start a divorce, what your lawyer is going to do is your lawyer will ask for financial documentation from both of you. So we're going to ask you and your spouse for bank statements, retirement statements, credit card statements, mortgage statements. You see where I'm going with this. We're going to ask you for all of that information. And it's admittedly, it can be a lot to gather together, especially if you've been married for a while, if you've acquired a lot of assets, it can be a lot. The reason why we ask you to produce this documentation is because until we have that documentation, we're really not able to tell you what a fair settlement would even look like. So I mean, sometimes we will have clients, I'll have a client come to me and say, oh, I've already talked about this with my spouse, and we've agreed that what's yours is yours, what's mine is mine, let's just get it done quickly. And I first say, whoa, let's slow down there. Let's find out what is actually in the marital estate, and then we decide and then you can decide whether that's still something that you're comfortable with doing. And this is particularly true when I'm representing the spouse who I can tell either is the lower earning spouse or has fewer assets. And usually the lower earning spouse is also the spouse with fewer assets. And we really don't, we're not really comfortable with the lower earning spouse potentially waiving a lot of rights that they would otherwise have, and that the law would allow them to claim. The problem when we ask parties to produce this documentation is that sometimes the other party does not cooperate. And whether that's because they deliberately want to hold up the process and drag it out as long as possible, or they truly just don't understand that this is required and we need this information to move the divorce forward, the effect is the same, that it causes a delay because it requires us to utilize the court process in order to get that information. So it's a very frustrating situation to be in. But unfortunately, your lawyer is only able to utilize the court process. If I'm representing husband, for example, I cannot force wife to produce bank statements unless I am going to court and asking a judge to give an order requiring wife to do so. So that's the first big reason for the delay. The other reason, which I'm not necessarily going through these in order of importance, but the other reason is when we're scheduling court proceedings, we are at the mercy of the court's calendar. And if you are in Allegheny County, for example, which is where I primarily practice, if we want to have a proceeding in front of a judge or in front of a hearing officer to address the divorce, the reality is that as of today, when I'm recording this in February 2025, there is a minimum of a 3-month waiting period. There is really nothing that the lawyers can do to speed that up, because we are given availability, and we are given we are offered first available dates, and they truly are first available. There are a lot of families who are looking for a divorce in Pennsylvania, and unfortunately, as a result, what that means is the courts get backed up. There are not enough judges and hearing officers to handle the volume of people who need assistance in resolving the divorce. So that's another issue that causes the delay. The third big reason why a divorce can get held up is many times we're not just talking about divorce. We're also talking about support. So if one spouse is asking the other to pay money, to pay some monthly amount to them, and we're also talking about custody, and those three issues, divorce, custody, and support, they're all considered separate matters, and they all have their own procedures and their own rules to follow, and those other matters, those custody and support matters, they also will occasionally require court proceedings. Actually, I would say for custody, if for custody, I'd say in general you go to court a lot more than you would for a divorce. So there's already a lot of court activity that may be going on that we're trying to address. And what happens for a lot of people is it becomes a lot. A lot of people will tell me, of course I want to move forward with the divorce, but right now the custody is the priority, or we have a support hearing that's coming up, so support is the priority. So because we'll sometimes have to prioritize between these multiple proceedings and these multiple matters, that can also get us delayed in moving forward with the divorce. I do want to say that attorneys, the vast majority of attorneys, certainly the ones who I practice and the way that I personally practice, we do not want to cause delay. And to the extent possible, we really try to resolve matters outside of court. One thing that I try to do, that I like to do with my clients, is say, if we're going to try to resolve this outside of court, okay, let's attempt this, but why don't we just touch base after a date certain? So like 30 days from today, you know what I mean? And that way you can decide if you still want to sit back and see if we get a response, or if we haven't gotten a response, you can decide whether you want me to move it forward in court. That's how I personally practice. I know a lot of other attorneys practice in a similar way. But we genuinely do try to move it forward for you as quickly as possible, while at the same time making sure that your rights are still protected, and that you're not giving up something that you may be entitled to without the information that you need to make an informed decision. So that's kind of a I don't know if upsetting topic is the right word to use. It certainly isn't pleasant, because, like I said, none of us, attorneys included, none of us like this. None of us like having the delay. But I do hope that helps to address at least the main reasons why a divorce can take a while. So I do hope, like I said, I do hope that's helpful. I certainly hope that your own divorce moves forward as quickly and as amicably as possible. And if you do have concerns about why something is taking a long time, it's okay to reach out to your attorney and ask why. I've never had a problem with clients dropping in and saying, it just seems like it's taking a while and we haven't gotten anywhere. Why is this happening? I am happy to answer those questions, because I do understand, and most attorneys understand how frustrating that it's a very, very frustrating process to be so delayed. So like I say in all of my videos, if you have a lawyer, reach out to your lawyer. Reach out and find out if they have any insight into what is taking so long. So again, I hope that was helpful. I wish all of you a swift but thorough divorce that's as amicable as it can possibly be under the circumstances. Please remember, like I say in all my videos, I am a lawyer, but I am not your lawyer. So if you do have questions about your specific case, please contact a local attorney of your choosing so that they can properly advise you. Thank you again for watching. Take care. Bye for now.